6:15. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Catherine Pereira and read by Lavani Vijayatunga. First, we take a look at the headlines. The State Minister of Finance says that the mandatory opening of tax files comes into effect from February. The first provincial-level discussions on better health services commenced from the Central Province yesterday. All sluice gates of the Parakrama Samudra opened by 2 feet. Another shipment of eggs to arrive tomorrow. An all-night period chanting ceremony to invoke blessings for the new year 2024 will be held at the historic Jayashree Mahabodhi premises. In news overseas, missile and drone attack launched against Russia. Those are the headlines, and now let's move on to the details of the local news. Finance State Minister Ranjit Sinhala said that it has been decided to postpone the decision to open new tax files for new vehicle registrations, new revenue licenses, opening of new current accounts and property purchases from 1st January by about a month. While addressing the media yesterday, he said the decision was taken because most people have not opened their tax files yet. Therefore, the ministry has decided to give 1 month time for those persons to open their tax files, the minister said. This registration is not difficult. Anyone can log into the official Inland Revenue Department website and register themselves through the online system. All it takes is a national identification card of the person to open an account, he said. There is no necessity that every registered person must pay taxes. If any person does not exceed the threshold of a monthly income of 100,000 rupees, they are not liable to pay tax. However, registering by opening a tax file is extremely valuable for a person, the minister said. After January, the tax file number will be made compulsory when purchasing new vehicles, obtaining new revenue licenses, opening current accounts and purchasing property, Minister Sinhala further said. The first provincial-level discussions on better health services commenced from the Central Province yesterday. The main objective of this move is to provide speedy solutions in the health sector while identifying the practical issues. The health promotion program will be updated for the betterment of the people. The discussions also focus on dengue eradication and nutritional programs for the estate people. Minister Ramesh Pathrana said that the primary health services will be developed in order to provide an efficient health service. All sluice gates of the Parakrama Samudra were opened by 2 feet each from last morning due to the incessant rain experienced in the Polonnaruwa district during the past 2 days. Police said that traffic between Gallala and Mannampitiya on the Polonnaruwa Badikala road was hampered due to the inclement weather in the area yesterday. Somawathiya sacred premises is underwater by 2 feet. Dry rations for the people living in the area have been supplied by boats. The National Building Research Organisation has issued a pre-landslide warning to 5 districts in the island. Accordingly, it will be effective to the Badulla, Munaragala, Kandy, Nuwara Eliya and Mathile districts. This is a news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. And we continue with more local news. A shipment of another stock of 6 million eggs will arrive from India tomorrow, Sri Lanka State Trading General Corporation said. STC Chairman Asri Valisundara said this new stock of eggs will be released to the Sathosa outlets countrywide for retail sales. Meanwhile, the All-Island Egg Producers Association's president Sarath Ratnakar said that they would be able to sell eggs at a price between 30 and 35 rupees each in the local market during the next few months, and the new VAT will not affect the prices. The price of eggs in the local market went up to about 65 rupees each. It was less than 50 rupees at the economic centres during the past week, and it will be less than 45 rupees now. Senior lecturer of the Kuala Lumpur University, Professor Samitha Hettige, said that the main challenge of the nation is to rebuild the economy. The economic reforms that were planned should be implemented. Explaining the views to the SLBC, he stated that social and economic discipline is essential for this task. An all-night period chanting ceremony to invoke blessings for the new year 2024 for the country and the people will be held at the historic Jayashree Mahabodhi premises. It will be broadcast through the Sinhala National Service and the Rajarata Sevaya of the SLBC from 9:30 p.m. tomorrow. And to conclude the local news, the headlines once again. State Minister of Finance says that mandatory opening of tax files comes into effect from February. The first provincial-level discussions on better health service commenced from the Central Province yesterday. All sluice gates of the Parakrama Samudra opened by 2 feet. Another shipment of egg to arrive tomorrow. An all-night spirit chanting ceremony to invoke blessings for the New Year 2024 will be held at the historic Jashri Mahabodhi premises. And that was the local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala.
The main news story for this evening, headline inflation as measured by the year-on-year change in the Colombo Consumer Price Index rose to 4% in December 2023 from 3.4% in November 2023. This increase in the headline inflation is mostly in line with the projections envisaged by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka in November 2023. After 5 months of continuous deflation, the food category recorded an inflation of 0.3% in December 2023 from 3.6% deflation recorded in November 2023. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala.
This is Watchlight.
Cake sales in the local market have dropped by 25% during the festive season due to lack of eggs for making cakes, the All Ceylon Bakery Owners Association said. The association's chairman, N.K. Javardhana, said that though they had hoped for at least 50% of the usual sale of cakes, it has dropped to 25%. And that came to you in Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
Headlines of the world news: missile and drone attacks launched against Russia. China appoints Dong Jun as the new defense minister. Concerns grow about infectious diseases threat in Gaza. Those are the headlines, and now let's move on to the details of the world news. Russia says it has destroyed dozens of missiles and drones fired at its territory from Ukraine, with a local official reporting 1 person killed and 4 injured in an attack. An initial update from the Russian Defense Ministry said 13 missiles have been taken down by Belgorod. Vyacheslav Gadlov, the governor of the region on the border, earlier said a man was killed after a house was hit. The attacks follow strikes on Ukraine, which killed at least 34 people. In what Kiev has described as Russia's biggest missile bombardment in the war so far, more than 160 people were injured as Russia hit cities across the country on Friday, including the capital Kiev, Odessa, Dnipro, Kharkiv, and Lviv. China has named Dong Jun as a new defense minister 2 months after his predecessor was officially sacked. Mr. Dong, a former Navy commander, takes over from Li Shufu, who was last seen in public in August. Mr. Dong's appointment was announced by China's top legislators at a standing committee meeting of the National People's Congress in Beijing yesterday. The move follows a slew of dismissals of top military officials from the country's top posts earlier this year. With the recent mass displacements across southern Gaza, the spread of diseases has intensified, according to reports from the UN agencies. Shelters are overcrowded, personal hygiene is difficult, medicines are in short supply, and the healthcare system is overwhelmed. The World Health Organization says it remains very concerned about the increasing threat of infectious diseases, and in the 3 months until mid-December, it registered some 180,000 cases of upper respiratory infections and 136,400 cases of diarrhea, half of these among children under 5 years of age. And that was World News.
Development News.
The final District Coordinating Committee meeting of the Polonnaruwa District was held at the District Secretariat office recently. A progress review report was presented at the meeting regarding all the development activities carried out in the district. And that was the Development News.
Moving on with Sports News.
The second one-day encounter between the visiting Australian women's team and the Indian team is being played at Wankhede Stadium. Australia won the toss and decided to bat first. Australian women's team scored 258 runs for the loss of 8 wickets at the end of their 50 overs. India had scored 22 runs for no loss in 3 overs a short while ago. That was the sports news. Business news coming up.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
On the first day of the new year 2024, when you make your first deposit in any SPE, you will receive a token gift. May this new year bring you happiness, joy, and abundance of savings. National Savings Bank.
In business news, the Commercial Bank of Ceylon and DEMO have come together once again to offer attractive discounts and other benefits to customers who obtain leasing facilities for purchase of commercial vehicles and agri-machinery from DEMO. The promotion covers the popular Tata Ace HT2, widely known as DEMO Batta, in the commercial vehicle segment, and tractors from the Mahindra and Swaraj brand, and low-valve combined harvesters in the agricultural machinery segment. That was the business news. Economic news follows.
On the first day of the new year 2024, when you make your first deposit in any SPE, you will receive a token gift. May this new year bring you happiness, joy, and abundance of savings. National Savings Bank.
Business news. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
And now in economic news.
UP Electronic Enterprises Limited, a leading electrical engineering service provider in Sri Lanka, received a Bronze Award at the National Industry Excellence Award for the year 2023, organized by the Industrial Development Board. The owner of the company, Ubal Gunaratna Jayathilaka, received the award at a ceremony held recently at the Nellum Pokunas Theatre. That is the economic news and the weather report to conclude.
Weather report.
And finally, the weather report for this evening. Showers or thunder showers will occur at times in the eastern and Nuwa provinces and in the Polonnaruwa, Matale, Nuwara Eliya and Hambantota districts. Fairly heavy showers above 75 millimeters are likely at some places. Several spells of showers will occur in the northern province and in the Anuradhapura district as well as the Kandy district. Showers or thunder showers may occur at several places elsewhere in the island after 2 p.m. Fairly strong winds of 40 km per hour can be expected at times in the eastern slopes of the Central Hills and in northern, north-central, northwestern, eastern, Uva and southern provinces. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the Sabaragamuwa, western and central provinces during the morning hours. And before we conclude this bulletin, let's get back to the headlines once again. The State Minister of Finance says that mandatory opening of tax files comes into effect from February. The first provincial level discussion on better health services commenced from the Central Province yesterday. All sluice gates of the Parakrama Samudra opened by 2 feet. Another shipment of eggs to arrive tomorrow. An all-night spirit chanting ceremony to invoke blessings for the New Year 2024 will be held at the historic Jayashree Mahabodhi premises. And in news overseas, missile and drone attack launched against Russia. And with that, we conclude this bulletin of news. And now it's back to your Saturday evening host, Chandiva, who is on the other side of the glass panel, to take you through the last Saturday of the year 2023.